I want to start in a surprising place. Luis and I did a series on war, justice, and democracy in the films of Steven Spielberg. And the first one we started with was Saving Private Ryan. Bob Rodat was here, he sat where you're sitting. And we talked about empathy and how important it is as a screenwriter to put the audience into shoes of characters. And he talked about how with that film, it was very important for him to get into the sort of subjective state of Captain Ryan, the Tom Hanks character, as well as the other soldiers, but not to flip over and get us inside the skin of the Nazis. This series is built on an entirely different idea of empathy,
right,
where you get us in the shoes of Cassian, of the forming rebel alliance, and of the Empire. And this episode, which we just watched, is where those lines that have been brewing for a season and 3/4 finally collide in a very direct way. I'm sure this was in your mind. You're thinking about the series. How important is it for you to sort of move around the different sides of the conflict and get us in the lives of the different characters and motivations, and why is that important to you?
I'm not sure it's a political choice. I mean, that's more of a narrative writing question, really. I mean, every project dictates its own grammar, you
right.
know, and the grammar of films is like not just. I mean, what's your perspective? What's your point of view? Who gets a point of view in the show?
Yeah.
I mean, it even gets down. We're prepping a movie now, and the articulation of what the camera can do, because one character is in every scene, and what do they know, and the grammar of it. Every single project dictates what those rules are. I think you get disoriented if you're watching a project and the people don't care about it.
Yep.
And it's a mess. Then you kind of recognize that, or you don't get the full effect of it. But here, I mean, we're doing 24 hours. I mean, we're trying to do War and Peace. I mean, this is an epic novel, really. I mean, that's what we're going for. That was the opportunity. That was the reason to sort of sacrifice 6 years of your life to it, you know? That's really why, I mean, that was the draw. So, that was the grammar. We're with everybody. Let's tell the whole story. Let's tell as much about revolution and oppression as we possibly can without you feeling that we're, adding mangoes to your beet juice or something, you know? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I was a prosecutor investigating these people, and you describe very well them. And if I remember, I met 30 years ago with one of the Nuremberg prosecutors, and he told me, for me, the most shocking thing was to find how Nazi were normal people. And for me, the question for you is, okay, you present the characters, how you learn to describe what happened to the Empire people, for instance, which is less described. People, the killers are not described well, and you describe very well them. How you did it? You imagine them, or you read something that you say, oh, this is the recipe?
Well, I don't know the difference. I mean, I don't know when I started to read. I probably read I don't read as much as I used to. None of us do. I'm sure you don't either. I mean, I don't read as much fiction, but I burned my whole youth not going to school and being a terrible student, but reading a lot. So I read just constantly. And then everything. I read the whole, I'm really good on 20th century American literature. I was really a freak for 20th century American literature. I mean, I could go through the whole canon of Dreiser and James Farrell, and I can track it all the way through John O'Hara and go all the way up, end up with Robert Stone and there's a whole, and you end up with Hilary Mantel. I mean, Hilary Mantel has a lot to do with this. If you look at A Place of Greater Safety as a novel that she wrote about the French Revolution, which I think is extraordinary. I think it's actually her masterpiece. That's a book that's like inside everybody. I don't know, but so reading. And then, I don't know where your reading takes off and your imagination begins. And I don't know how to write if I'm not in the person, and I don't know what the satisfaction would be. I understand what you're talking about with Spielberg, and I've written many movies where there's the cops, or
right.
There's the there's the bureaucracy or something, and you're not going to go there. But by and large, I would say in pretty much everything I've been working on, if you track the things that I'm in control of, I suppose, pretty much I want to get in everywhere. I want access to all areas, and I want to be able to talk about all the people, and I want to be with them all.
Why?
Why? I don't know why. Why? I guess it works for me. I guess I also would say that I do a lot of overwork. There's a huge amount of compost and excess that goes into something like this that gets thrown away. I throw a lot of things away, so I make a huge mess and I overdo things, and then I know how to take them back. It's a lot easier to take them back if you know what they really are than if you're taking them back and you haven't really done it. So sometimes you take something back to nothing, but wow, I really know who she is. And it might only be a gesture, it might be one single thing, but like it takes a depth, it gives more depth to the painting, I guess, you know?
Yeah. I mean, as you say that, I'm thinking of the relationship between Cyril and Dedra, which reaches these sort of powerful, epic kind of moments between the two of them over these episodes 7 and 8.
Well, the romance, I mean, I'm curious what you guys, your bio is insane. Oh my God, it really is. And it'd be interesting to hear you do like romance, like the love life of autocrats, the love life of the distaff side of goodness. You know, it's fascinating, isn't it? Everybody needs something.
And everybody has an inner life.
I know, man.
Yeah.
And like, how can that not be fascinating? How can that not be fascinating?
Clearly, yeah. You held this project with fairly loose reins when you launched it, in the sense that the episodes got written as you went along.
No.
No.
I mean, no, this would not be a loose reins show. Not at all.
So
that's the one thing I would dispute.
Okay, good.
No, this is a very tight, super tight show.
So
this is a prep show.
How did it begin? In the sense
it started. They wanted.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's a boring story because we've told it so many times before. But they wanted to do They came back after the success of Rogue, and then streaming started, and they tried to do a bunch of shows where they took Cassie and Andor back 5 years, and they tried a bunch of different things, but they were very him and the robot going on adventures and doing stuff like that. And then, and I'm a friend to them, and I gave advice on one thing, and I wrote a long thing once about what they should do. Not because I was trying to get the job, but just to try to help out. And I said, well, if you really want to do this, you got to take this guy back to the worst day of his life, 5 years earlier. And if he's going to become a revolutionary butterfly at the end, you want to see him, be a caterpillar or a roach at the beginning and make it as far as possible. They came back later on and said, hey, holy crap, we want to do that now. That idea looks good to us now. And we have the money now because we got a Game of Thrones and we got to be big. We want to go big. So we want to do that. So I got involved in that. We were going to originally do it for 5 years.
Yep.
Which was absolutely the most vainglorious, insane thing ever. So I had no idea what we were doing, and got involved. Then COVID kind of saved the show. I was about to drive off a cliff, and then COVID happened, and I was hoping COVID would get rid of the show because it was just like, what had I done?
It's too big.
No, we realized what we were into. Oh my God! It was like, I mean, it's just like a life sentence. It's like, and it's impossible. And then through COVID, we ended up building back. I ended up just rewriting everything I had done, rewriting everything everybody else had done, tightening everything up. We hired directors. COVID made us very specific about staying in the UK and having British directors. I worked remotely for the first many months until I could get over there. And we built a system that was very precise, where we blueprinted everything. I mean, the construction of that episode that you're seeing is like 3 years of work goes into that. I mean, it's very, very, like we knew we were going to go there a long time before we went there, and how it works. And I mean, it's a very, let's put it this way, for all the people that are in television, we never have a writer on set, ever. Never put a writer on set. I never went to the set. None of the other writers are all gone, but I never go to the set. everything is so buttoned up by the time they get there. The directors and the actors and the production team, they take it over. That's how we do it.
That doesn't surprise me. I didn't think you
No,
were
that's
making,
how we
I didn't
work
think
it.
you were making a
Very
show
tight,
up.
very
Yeah.
tight.
So during the process of writing the episodes,
Okay, yeah.
with a team of incredible screenwriters, was there anything you discovered along the way that you hadn't mapped out in what you wrote that eventually got you this
The
job?
show teaches. I mean, when we did the first season, it's okay. We'll do 1 year. We still thought we were going to do 5 years at that point, and the first year was like, okay, let's do the whole first 12 episodes should be the making of a revolutionary. Let's just, so the last scene should be him saying, I knew what he's going to say, it's either kill me or take me into the revolution. Yep. So let's get to that point. Let's go through the whole, whatever the stations of the cross are that lead someone to becoming radicalized in every way, in a fundamentally emotional way, in a theoretical way, being exposed to other people's experiences, seeing alternatives, all the different ways that one could, everything that we could think of. And then when we did that, as you do that, and then Bo and Danny came back for the second time as well, the show is teaching us, like, we're learning about what it means to sacrifice, like how, how, if you're going to write empathetically and you're living through everybody, then it's like, well, what would we sacrifice? What is real courage? How far would you go? What happens when, because our show's supposed to be about ordinary people when the history comes and kicks your door down. So that's what the show is teaching us what to do next. And then we also have all the things that we want to do as well. But I would say that, the show was very educational for us in many ways. It just forces you to constantly be thinking about these kinds of things.
In particular,
That
sacrifice.
way, did the show teach you how to end this conflict? How to stop? Question.
Oh my God.
How to?
No, we didn't get to episode 25 when I work it out. No, the answer.
No, but you understand the logic of the character. So, what you can learn. Are we going to a perpetual war? Because that is what this is a perpetual war, an endless war. How to change that? Is how you see, how your character tell you, okay, we can do something different here.
Probably other people, there's some people my age that are here in this crowd, probably not too many, but like I laughingly thought that I had had enough history. I thought, Vietnam, civil rights, I was the last year of the lottery, and then, Nixon, and 9/11, and COVID, and Iraq, and like, history's done with me. I saw enough history, COVID, okay, okay. But, man, what a fool I was. I mean, really, and so, I don't know. I thought perpetual war, I never quite believed the end of history, the book, but I was dulled into a sense of complacency for sure. I don't know. I have to say I just sat in for about an hour, 45 minutes of that. I haven't seen it in a while, and it's a lot harder to look at now than it was to build it 3 years ago. It's very different than when we built it for what it means and what it means to me, and to look at it
Well,
it's Chicago. It's
no,
just.
it's not Chicago. No, it's not Chicago because basically Star Wars is about in the galaxy.
It's Chicago next week. I don't know.
In the galaxy, because when you present, and that way it's the future, you present a galaxy problem. It's not a nation problem.
No.
And even if one planet could be a nation, but now we have all the planets together. So that's why social scientists and political international relations are not describing a global solution. So, but you are presenting very well what are the global problems we are facing. And you foresaw that. I start talking, even episode 1, George Lucas talked about tariff. Starting around me, surrounding the planet for the tariff. So, in some way, because you are doing this normal understanding each person, how it's working, and then you finally present the picture. And the picture is sad because we're going to a permanent war. Okay, what did the show learn you something about? Teach you something about that? What we can learn about that?
think the show, particularly watching it now, humbles me because I don't know how brave I am. I think it humbles me because, like a lot of writers, I think I'm, a fantasist and a romantic, and I think I have, I think my imagination and my fantasies outstrip the reality of my pain threshold and my willingness to sacrifice and how soft I am and the things that I've come to accept as, acceptable. So the show is humbling in that sense. I would say that the one advantage that the show has is, and one of the things that's been very pleasantly sneaky while we were selling it, is that there's nobody in the show that's ever saying, hey, I'm for supply side economics, or like I believe in universal health care, or, and we have an immigration issue and some other things like that. But it's as varied as the revolutionary spectrum is, if the Saw Gerrera on one side, I'm on Mothma, and all it's really about fascism in its most pure form, authoritarianism versus freedom. And so it's not, I don't see it even as ideological in a way. And we've been able to negotiate our way through the 4 or 5 months of selling the show in a very complicated way without getting pinned down by people who are trying to say, oh, it's a left-wing show or this or the other thing. So I do think that it forces, and now it's very stark. I think people have to just basically say, well, they're basically self-identifying as fascists at this point. So, okay, they want to be, that's what they want to do, so...
That was I'm missing. If I can make a contribution. What I miss in the characters of the Empire people, no one believed truly in the cause.
If it what?
No one believed in the Empire. There's no one Empire group of people that really believe in the Empire. Okay, the young guy, yes, but he was wrong. So, but, yeah. No, but I saw in my cases, top generals who believed they were doing the right thing. So, and that's why they don't understand why you are charging him. But what I miss in your series is two sides who can be crucial to transform the game, and maybe in the next series you can do that. So it's about how politicians make agreements, because basically how the Senate work, and how the business people works. What the connection between the emperor and the business people and the political people, because these are the people who can stop the problem, really.
We tiptoed towards that. There's the Davo Skulden, who, the very wealthy, the oligarch there, who marries Mon Mothma's daughter and sort of classes up his Chandrilan family there. He was a really big opportunity. I think in the longer version of the show, if we had done the show, more seasons, I think we would have been exploring through him, the relationship of the business community to the empire, and we do it with the media a little bit. We get at the media because that's the thing that's most prescient to what we're dealing with. But in a classic way, probably before I was even really aware of it. I mean, they do something in the very first episodes, in the very first season, that's classic fascist move. The Empire is taking over, nationalizing all of the outer planets, and they're taking over Preox Morlana, and they're using what happens at in Ferrix as an excuse to take over, nationalize this company. So we're dealing with it a little bit, but I don't know. It's not you'd have to open a whole other category of character to do that. Yeah.
One of the things that I suspect happens when you're with a show for as long as you are and seeing it through the iterations from your original conception, bringing the writers on, is that different people, different collaborators offer you perspective that changes the way you see things, the way you think about things. I expect that happened in the writer's room, when you cast, when you brought on directors. Were there any folks along the way who really shifted the way you conceptualize a character or conceptualize the nature of these conflicts?
I mean, the short answer is no, but the long answer is the long answer is that people are bringing all kinds of, it's the specifics that they're bringing. I mean, I'm trying to think, you're watching this episode tonight, and this has passed through many hands, and certainly it ends up going, everything ends up coming off my desk, but like, I remember when Danny comes in and goes, you know, the raw recruits, those green kids that they caught, you know, the Rhode Island National Guard
Right.
that's put out in the middle of the street there. I'm nothing against Rhode Island, but you know, but like,
Or the
you know, I mean,
National
Danny
Guard.
goes like, and I go, really? And he goes, yeah, you know, let's send them out, these lamps of the slaughter thing. I really want to push on this, and like, it's things like that. It's really the detail where I would say that I'm trying to think if there's anybody who, I mean. No, nobody came in and theologically changed any point of view. No, we
You were locked in.
and we were locked because we knew, to be honest with you, we know where we're going. I mean, our last scene of our show, whether it was 20 seasons or 2, was always going to be him walking out to go sacrifice himself in Rogue One and go die with everybody else to go do this thing and have this sacrifice. And so when you know where you're going, and you know what you're up against. No, I mean, I think but that's what you just saw there on episode 8. I mean, that's the work of 2,300 people, 2,400 people in all kinds of varieties, all kinds of people that are contributing to that. Every one of those extras.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the way that the people are working, the people there for 2 months working out there, and the ADs who keep them animated and alive and energized, and I mean, everything. That's every department working together for years.
And music. The
Oh,
singing
my
in
God.
the square is so...
I know, and I was thinking that when I was watching it, it really, we always thought of the music and the mandate for the music when we were doing it with Brandon was that it should be nauseous. The whole day should be nauseous because everybody knows what's going to happen that day. It's not, there's no thrill, there's no anxiety that's coming, there's no, it's just inevitable.
It's doomed.
You're going to throw up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, and you know how you feel, right? You know, it's just, oh, fuck. And that nausea, and I mean, I feel that nausea in life now. I mean, I feel that doom anticipation nausea is there. I mean, you've seen it your whole life. That's your whole resume is just track. You're living for that. Yeah. I don't know if that's a weird answer to the question, but
It's a great answer. One other thing that I noticed about, you had a lot of experience on the Bourne films with action and espionage, and in those films, but also in Michael Clayton, Dolores Claiborne, you seem to savor characters in morally ambiguous situations, or situations where they're being really squeezed morally in different ways. Is that a sort of conscious terrain that you...
I want to hold people's interest. I mean, that's drama.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the job, right? Yeah, I mean, I don't want to... People getting along is not something I excel at. No. No, I mean, maybe have 1 or 2 scenes where people are getting along, but like, that's it, you know? That's drama.
I mean, I don't mean just
No, but
disagreeing.
I know,
I'm talking about, you know,
I'm interested.
people whose
I think
consciences are
I'm more
being
theological than I ever realized. I think there's maybe it's political. It might be political, but I see the 2 things as linked. It's become my drumbeat of the last couple months. Again, to try to inoculate us against being ghettoized by the audience, you know, by commentators and make the show left or right and lose part of the audience. But what am I going to say? I think that I think to me it's more of a moral issue and a theological issue that I've been working on. I don't see the current political crisis as left and right even at all. It seems like decency is the basic. It seems like we're just like we have to fight for decency just to even get back to talk about politics. Everything is so like what you're going to show episode 9 tomorrow night,
yeah.
And she has the big speech about truth and like no truth. How can you do anything? How can you do anything if you don't have decency? If you don't have a basic agreement about what is moral behavior. You can't argue about any of these other things. So I think we've sort of become antediluvian. We're not even worthy of talking about politics at this point. So that's consistent with, I think, some of the other things I've done. I mean, I think Michael Clayton is a lot of theology, and in a weird way, obviously, devil's advocate does. I think I'm working on those. I have no, and I would argue I would say that probably the biggest degrade for human interaction in all history is religious certainty. I would say that that's probably the worst thing that's ever happened to humanity, is people being religiously certain. So I don't have any kind of religious certainty, but I do feel that there's I see that as the common thing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I see that in the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have him?
No.
No, because I have my last comment for you is, it's an optimist movie, because it's basically presenting, guys, if we're not changing course, we are dead. So what the lesson you're teaching all of us is permanent war is wrong. It's no escape from there.
I don't believe in permanent war. No, I don't want permanent war. I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question.
No, you're teaching us that permanent war is destroying us, because in fact the hero will die. The hero destiny to die. So that's permanent war.
But sacrifice also has its. I mean, I think that is what the show taught us along the way. A lot of us, we were like, how far would we go? And you'll have Dan Gilroy here tomorrow night, who probably has a more radical answer to this than I even do.
But you believe if the rebels win, will be better?
What?
If the rebels win, will be better? And a rebel victory would be a great war, or would be equally disaster?
Well, all right. I mean, the guys in the white suits, I don't know. They messed it up. I'm not going with you completely there. I'm not sure about that. I'm really not.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that.
I love that answer. I mean, that's the answer of a dramatist, right?
Yeah, I gotta think about that.
You won the chance to make this series. I'm sure at some point or other, either explicitly or implicitly, the question was, why will this register right now? Why? And this was however many years ago.
Yeah.
You're looking ahead. It's like launching a rocket, knowing it's going to land on the moon 4 years from the time you start building it. What guided you? Did you have? Is there a zeitgeisty thing that was in play, or was it?
We were just
mostly the
really
characters?
in love with the opportunity. I mean, I've been reading about history and doing all this stuff my whole life. I have all this accumulated knowledge about revolutions and rebellions and insurrections and all the crap I read, and I had no place to put it. I mean, all of a sudden they come along and they go, well, we'll give you, I don't want to, I mean, I can say how much it costs. I've said it before. I mean, it's like $600 million that we had to spend on this show, on 20. We made 8 movies for $600 million over 6 years. That's really what we did. And so here's this huge canvas. I never took a note on the show. I never got one note, ever. Nothing. I mean, one note. We couldn't say fuck the Empire. But no one, the show was like, no one ever told us what to do. We work with the greatest actors and people on the planet and technicians, and we're just, my job is, that's the extra part of it. The job one is to make sure that you're really interested in what happens next, and that it's a ripping yarn, and that you really care about these people, and it's an adventure story, and you really care, and also that you're really emotionally, that your heart is breaking, or you feel restored, or whatever. The political side of it is, was a lot of fun to put in there, and a lot of, we kept. I will admit, by the time we got to season 2, I was like, what are they going to let us do? And nobody said no. So I don't know if nobody was paying attention, or we were too complicated, or too far away, or too, but or the show gets really complicated. It gets really hard to give notes on a show like this once it gets rolling. So as long as we were and then you start to feel like you're pulling something off, and then people are digging it, and so they're happy. So I don't know, every now and then you get to sneak something through. This is a big thing to sneak through.
You
but
snuck
we
a
did.
battleship through, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is really, no, we really did. I don't think it'll happen very often.
So there was this sense of I got to keep them turning the pages. I got to keep people.
Oh, that's
job one.
My main thing is that you have to want to know what happens next. Absolutely, if you don't have that, you have nothing.
And then after season one, it's like, okay, let's engage some of these more substantial political.
More balls in the I mean, I don't know how this happened. And it's already just even if it's a year since we finished, but it's about 5-6 months since we released it, and I'm on another project now, so I'm getting into that. But I already watch it now, sitting here, going like, how did they do that? I don't know.
And it affected you.
What was wrong with them? I know.
And it affected you. We were in the
I
lobby,
know.
but you were like
I'm just
shaken.
Wow. No, I'm in that place already. Yeah.
We've got a lot of filmmakers in the audience, a substantial number of filmmakers and film scholars, many of them imagining careers, that they hope will end up like yours. Your work has gotten deeper, richer. You've had more opportunities the deeper into life you go. This does not always happen.
Elder fame. Elder fame is what my wife and I call it.
There you go.
Yes, elder fame.
So, for people packing the backpack for a long career, what are some of the navigational devices that have served you well?
I just gave advice to somebody the other day about a young writer who's sort of happening all of a sudden, and she was taking a whole bunch of jobs, and I said, I think you're going to work. I mean, I'm just picking one thing, for that. Sure. I mean, I think my career changed about 25 years ago, when I decided I was not going to ever book a job in front of the one I was on. I never take a job past the one that I'm on. Do the one thing. Don't do anything else. Finish it, or get close to finishing it. Pick up your head, see what you want to do next, see what's right. That was a very, very prudent thing to do. You have to have the balls to sort of say, okay, I'm going to work, because you get nervous, like, oh my God, maybe it's going to turn. But if you feel somewhat confident, you go, that was a good piece of advice. I mean, have something to say. How many writers? You meet kids all the time, and you want to go, well, you can't just write about self-referential things or repeat what other people did. You have to know things. So I'm not sure. It's sacrilege here. Oh my God, the lightning will come down. But I'm not a big film school fan.
You're not the first person on the stage
I'm not a film school
that.
fan. Not for writers. Not for writers. I mean, for other. I think for producers and DPs and building a community and building a network of friends. But I'm not really big on it for writers at all. For a whole bunch of reasons. I know.
I get this all the time.
I know. But that's not my. I think if you get, it's probably good for a small percentage of the people that come in. It's extraordinary, but I think I don't know. But I think really have something to talk about. Starting late is good. Starting late is not the worst thing that happens to you. Know something first and then do that. I don't know, and then. Never settled. You just have to be. I'm really mean. If I read your script, I'm horrible. You don't want. In fact, I won't read your script, but you don't want me to read it. It's just, and I'll tell you beforehand. You don't want me to read it. You'll say, oh yeah, I do, and I'll say you really don't. But then when I'm done, most 99, you'll be, oh my God, why did I do that? And but there's nothing that I would say to you that I don't say to myself every single day when I go to work. So I'm really you have to really be rigorously, and you have to love it. You gotta want to be there. I mean, it's a really. If you hate writing, man, you have to really like it. You got to really like it. I don't know. Thank you. There's probably more, but that's the four I can think of.
If it comes to